This is Hoosier Ag Today. I'm Kayla McClellan on the morning edition for Wednesday, September 30th, 2015. Good morning and thank you for listening. We have the latest in Indiana farm news for you. Gary Truitt talks with hat meteorologist Ryan Martin about harvest conditions ahead. And the meat price reporting bill was sent to the president yesterday. That expires today. Gary Truitt checks in with a market update, and Ryan Martin has your latest in the Indiana Farm Forecast. It's all here on the morning edition for Hoosier Ag Today. Indiana Farm Bureau needs you. It's critical for your farm and family that your voice be heard daily. Farm Bureau membership tells legislators that Indiana agriculture stands together on property tax issues, farmland annexation, and water rules. Protect your livelihood and children's future by going online to infb.org/join or call 1-800-FARM-BUREAU. infb.org/join or call 1-800-FARM-BUREAU. Your membership brings value and benefits, but more importantly, it adds your voice to that of your neighbors and friends. Don't stand on the sidelines. Be heard on local, state, and national issues. We'll show you how. Indiana Farm Bureau needs you. Go to infb.org/join or call 1-800-FARM-BUREAU.
This is Hoosier Ag Today. I'm Gary Truitt reporting the latest news in Indiana agriculture, brought to you by DuPont Pioneer. Listen for DuPont Pioneer harvest updates throughout the harvest season on this station and on the agronomy page at our website and app for mobile devices. The Indiana harvest continues to roll along well ahead of schedule, due primarily to the extended dry weather we've had for the past several weeks here in September. And according to Hoosier Ag Today Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin, this dry stretch will continue through the weekend.
What we've got here as we go through the rest of this week is not much. Front is clearing out of the area here at midweek, and behind it we've got a strong high-pressure dome. The difference from what we've seen to what this high brings will be a difference in temperatures. It's going to feel almost like what early October should over a large part of the state. So, I guess that's a good thing. We have dry weather that goes all the way into the weekend.
Martin told me there is a remote chance we could see some rain move into the state this weekend, due primarily to the arrival of a hurricane on the East Coast.
The soon-to-be Hurricane Joaquin, who's going to be drifting northward. This does not make a direct hit on the United States at all. As a matter of fact, it stays just offshore, off the East Coast. But boy, howdy, I tell you, it's going to throw a lot of rain into that eastern seaboard area. And the reason why I bring this up is some models, one or two of them, are trying to actually back this moisture in from east to west, which would put it maybe into the state sometime Saturday, Sunday. I'll be right up front and say, I don't think that happened.
We did hear reports this week of freezing temperatures in parts of the northern plains, but Martin does not think there's any chance of an early frost for the Hoosier state.
No, it doesn't. And let me tell you the reason why. First of all, the air mass that brought that cool air in up there is modifying as it comes to the south. So we're not looking at any air like that down here anytime soon. Secondly, some frost in portions of eastern North Dakota last night in the upper 20s to low 30s. You know what? That's about 10 days to 2 weeks later than normal. So still, even up there, even in the west, we're extending this growing season 2 to, in some cases, 3 weeks beyond what we normally would have anyway. I can't see as how that's a problem.
He says the next chance for a rain that will bring our harvest to a halt will probably be next Tuesday or Wednesday. Get his complete forecast on the weather section of our website and mobile app. The livestock industry is reacting to the mandatory meat price reporting bill that was passed by Congress this week. As Kayla McClellan reports, this issue became a political football to threaten to bring this vital program to an end.
The U.S. House ditched its version of mandatory livestock price reporting and passed the more controversial Senate version instead, sending it to the president for his expected signature. National Cattlemen's Beef Association's Colin Woodall says it was the only choice the House had, as the Senate could not pass any other version of mandatory livestock price reporting and Grain Standards Act renewal before the Thursday start of the new fiscal year.
And Senator Stabenow would not allow the emergency authority provisions to remain in this bill, which basically would have made mandatory price reporting an essential function of government. So in essence, basically, if the government were to shut down because of Senator Stabenow, she apparently doesn't want us as producers to have access to market reports.
A Stabenow press aide last week said only that Senate Agriculture Committee Chairman Pat Roberts agreed to the change, but the office did not get back with a response to why Stabenow insisted on dropping the waiver authority.
The choice was either fight for that provision and allow mandatory price reporting to expire, or just get mandatory price reporting put back on the books. And ultimately, we on the industry side said we needed to get it put back in place, reauthorized for another 5 years, and then we can find another way to fight this issue of essential function of government.
Read more on this story and a take from the National Pork Producers Council on our website, HoosierAgToday.com. Find it also on our Hat app for your mobile device. I'm Kayla McClelland.
And I'm Gary Truitt. This is Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network. This is Gary Truitt with a look at Tuesday's market activity, brought to you by Seed Consultants, simply the best value in the seed industry. A quiet day in the markets. Corn and soybeans finished on the plus side. Wheat higher in early trade, but finished lower on the day. December corn closed at $3.89, up 2 1/4. March at $3.99 3/4, up 4. May at $4.06 3/4, gained 1 3/4 points. November beans at $8.84 1/4, closed 7 1/2 better. January at $8.87 1/2, up 6 3/4. March at $8.91, gained 5 1/2. Wheat for December at $5.04 was down 1 3/4, and the March at $5.11 1/4, down 1 1/2. During Tuesday's trade, I talked with Bill Gentry from Risk Management Commodities in Lafayette, Indiana. He said the quietness in the market is due primarily to the fact that the USDA will be out on Wednesday with their updated stocks report.
I think realistically the trade's setting up to be position squaring ahead of the reports. We also are anticipating a little bit of quietness because China's going to be on their Golden Week vacation for the next week. So that's kind of got maybe a positive sentiment today with little news looking forward.
USDA will be out on Wednesday with a stocks report. What do you see in that report, and will it have much of a market impact?
I think the guiding light that we're looking for is the soybean number. I think realistically, and we've had an assumption for an extended period of time that the USDA probably overestimated last year's soybean production figure. And we've seen stocks numbers that have come in below expectations a couple of times, and we think that should continue to be the case, and we'll probably see a smaller number in the soybean market. If that happens, it would probably start to shore up ideas that maybe we've got a seasonal low in place and give us some encouragement going forward. But we just need to see them ink that number so that the entire trade can look at it and trade it.
What's your sense as you talk to guys that are on the combines or seeing yields, in some cases a little better than expected, but in most cases all over the board at this point? Is everybody pretty much going to put this crop away and hang on to it for a while and see what happens the next couple of months?
You know, I think that seems to be the order of business. You know, the numbers have not been flowing as freely as they have in years past. We initially thought that maybe they were a little bit disappointed, but the numbers in general are coming out pretty much as expected, a little bit below last year's, but not a real bad crop. And yes, they're putting it in a bin thinking, you know, the USDA is probably not on the most accurate figure so far. We're probably going to see some downward production estimates probably in November, if not sooner. And if that's the case, let's just go ahead and utilize our storage space, put the crop away, and then cross our fingers and hope for better news down the road.
Now, with all of the uncertainty we're seeing, not only with China, but with the world financial market in general, that's put a big question mark on demand. And is that going to be a little more of a volatile and uncertain situation going forward as we look at the possible demand at these lower prices?
You know, I think the demand is a little bit of a question mark as far as getting the exact right number. But what I would say, and tell all the producers, I think realistically, demand for both corn, beans, and wheat is very structurally sound. I think we've got an appetite for all of our commodities, and that we are going to produce and support that price. Going forward, our demand base is very, very large. I think the ethanol base, our export market is a little bit of a question mark, but when you look at the ethanol consumption and we also look at the livestock sector, our demand base is very sound. And I think realistically, what we're going to do is make sure that we supply the market adequately. And right now, that's our concern this year is maybe our supply side is not as bountiful as we might have thought previously. And that's why we're waiting for the USDA to line up and tell us.
Bill Gentry with Risk Management Commodities in Lafayette, Indiana. I'm Gary Truitt. This is Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network.
I'm Hoosier Ag Today's Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your Indiana farm forecast from the Wells Fargo Forecast Center. As we take a look at action across the Hoosier State today, generally speaking, we're on the backside of a frontal boundary that brought a little bit of moisture. As expected, the moisture was a little heavier over the southern part of the state. Up over the northern half, just hit and miss stuff. Now, I thought it would be a little bit better when we woke up yesterday morning and saw big rains on the backside of the front. But you know what? We got to about 11, 12 o'clock or so, and things just went poof. and went away. High pressure is in control here today. We should see some nice clearing work in, and we're looking at several days of rather nice weather as we go forward. Here's the issue, though. We continue to see hurricane, or soon-to-be Hurricane Joaquin, moving north, and it's going to move up along and just off the east coast of the United States as we go through this weekend. The European model continues to try and throw some moisture back into our neck of the woods here, backing it in from east to west. Anybody who knows anything about the weather patterns knows that that is not natural. We're going to continue to look at that and say probably won't happen. I think, you can see moisture build back to the west that way, but the Appalachian mountain chain is going to be a big blockade to that happening. I think the European is probably going to have to take the moisture away. We've seen already a change from what was in the model 24 hours ago to what we have now, and I think it's going to just continue to kind of work away as we go forward. That means our next round of precipitation likely developing as we head toward midweek next week. Here's the thing. Models continue to back the truck up on this about 12 hours at a time. We have been looking Tuesday, Wednesday. Now models are saying Wednesday night into Thursday. I guess I'm looking at this and saying, okay, there's going to be a front there, but just how jacked up is the pattern going to be from this hurricane sitting off the east coast of the United States? Is that going to back us up, just kind of cause the pipeline to get jammed, if you will? That's what it's looking like. I still think we've got moisture coming at some point next week, but I may have to step back and say it's not as soon as we would like. Moisture total still looks similar. Quarter of an inch to half an inch for the most part, maybe a few 3/4 inch totals out there. Coverage about 75-80% of the state, maybe more. Timing is just the issue now. Is it at midweek or is it now skewed a bit later? I think a lot of that depends on just how strong this hurricane gets this weekend and early next week. Right now I'm thinking Category 2 if it would happen to be a Cat 3, and if it were to happen to veer a little bit farther to the west, yeah, I can see it backing things up pretty nicely here as we go through next week. The extended forecast period, not a lot in there that's exciting to me right now. As a matter of fact, as I look at the latest maps, I'm not seeing anything in the period from about the 10th on through the 13th that makes me get excited one way or the other. I think we're mostly dry. Another front probably toward the end of the 2-week period could give us a quarter to half an inch. That's the way things are stacking up. Have a great rest of your day. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin on Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network.
And that'll do it for the Morning Edition Wednesday, September 30th, 2015. Thank you so much for listening. Just after noon Eastern, the Midday Edition becomes available. More of the latest in the commodity markets, energy markets, and more. Download it online at HoosierAgToday.com. Find it on our Hat app for your mobile device and on the Hoosier Ag Today YouTube channel. Have a good one. I'm Kayla McClelland, Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network.